My name is Otto Kemp, and here is my all about South Africa. What you'll realize is this is me and one of my siblings and my parents that went to visit my sister who was studying nursing in South Africa. This is the southernmost Cape point in South Africa, but we were there for 2 weeks and it was a great experience. So I wanted to do my presentation on somewhere I've been and somewhere that's really fond of my heart. Excuse me, my voice is a little clogged, actually just recovering from COVID, so uh, try and get through this without a little bit of shortness of breath. So the country overview, it became a republic in 1961, became a constitutional democracy in 1994. As of 2020 or 2020, the population is 59,700 or 59,750,000. The currency is in rands, so it's $0.66 to one South African rand. Cost of living is significantly cheaper in South Africa, which means wages are going to be cheaper. And so 1 rand equals $0.66, which when I went about 5 years ago, it was about kind of similar. It costs about $2.50 to $3 to really fill yourself up. So it's kind of nice transferring as with the American dollar just because it's strong. There's multiple languages within their culture. Zulu is the significantly spoken one. Majority of, at least in Cape Town where we were staying, a lot of people spoke in Zulu. English, they can pick it apart. Most people can kind of take keywords, which was helpful in getting around by taxi. So in the religion aspect, actually 80% is Christian, and Muslim, Hindu, and a couple others account for very low on the totem pole in terms of percentages of their of religion, which I thought was surprising in terms of grand scheme of South Africa. And in their GDP as of 2019, they were 351.4 billion US dollars, so a pretty large scale economy. So getting more into their political economy and their system, their government was based on the English Parliament. It became an independent republic in 1961, with the local government was established in 1909 with white council in power. Province councils were established in 1986, which were then appointed by the president. So there were actually 4 original regions among South Africa that were the original provinces, and then turned into 9 in 1994. 80 members are elected for 5-year terms. So legislative, they basically vote over legislative, education, the environment, health, housing, police, and transport. And this kind of became a problem with the central government because they're all voting on the same thing. And when you have 2 people creating council over the same thing, it creates very much so contradicting laws and whatnot. So this was tough because it weakened the federal system, which was then fixed. But blacks, colors, and Asians were systematically deprived of political participation. This was apartheid. Apartheid played a huge role in political function, especially the economic freedom fighters. When we went, they very much so keep apartheid a huge role of their social history, and it's kind of like the Emancipation Proclamation with us, when us in terms of the United States, very much so holding that alive. Nelson Mandela played a huge role in this, and it was when the blacks really took over in terms of not having the white power actually ended. I'm sure people have heard of this again, but can't really spend too much time here, but it played a big role. In terms of in terms of their economic status and development, as you can see by this graph, they have taken a big hit in July of 2020. In terms of, this is when COVID hit. It's a 6 months basis, so the January to July of 2020 was pretty rough in terms of when COVID came out. But it's been an upward trend overall. They revolutionized when diamonds or gold were found. South Africa has a lot of land, a lot of manufacturing as well. They're still struggling with foreign investment because of apartheid. They were not connected, or other countries were not connected with South Africa as they were going through the struggle of apartheid in their white owned. So a lot of people didn't want to invest with them, be partners with them. So they're still working to overcome those relations internationally. And so based on they're based a lot off of private enterprise. They have a lot of industrial infrastructure, again, a lot of land, a lot of places to manufacture. They manufacture iron and steel, and then a couple big businesses that have or industries, agriculture, forestry, and fishing. They become pretty key in the South African economy. They're rich in coal, platinum, chromium, and more, a lot of those elements. And then the PPP scale, which I'll do the Big Mac scale, but it's $2.07 for a Big Mac in South Africa, which 2.07 for a meal. So pretty cheap in terms of the US dollar, but it's interesting because McDonald's has provided with they actually have a different style in South Africa. When I went, at least, they had a lot of different flavors that they don't have here in America. So it's kind of cool to just try see how the culture affects the McDonald's order, even though it's a hardcore corporation. You wouldn't think that they'd change, but they actually do. So development of the economy, major manufacturing sectors, food processing and the production of textiles, metals, and chemicals. Well-developed financial system based off the South African Federal Reserve Bank, which is kind of like the Federal Reserve Bank for us in terms of America again. Implements monetary policy and manage foreign exchange transactions. They are really key in metals, agriculture, military equipment as for key exports to other countries. And so this is kind of the section that I kind of like because it's what I experienced the most. The cultural values and norms, great mix of cultures everywhere in South Africa. You'll find a lot of different black culture in South Africa. Art and food are staples. Everyone's singing, everyone's dancing. Music is really common ground for most of these cultures. Literature played a big role post-apartheid. Film is important in their social expression. Cultural norms vary from city to city, and I thought a little bit of this would be interesting for people, but no unannounced visits, don't spit in public, and do not openly criticize South Africa. It can be a pretty dangerous place in terms of just with the slums. I know people don't really experience that too often, but people make very little money in certain parts there. So doing these kinds of things, as for Americans, it's normal for us, but for them, it's kind of a slap in the face. So it's kind of just a little bit of tips for when you go there, if you happen to venture off there. Global business opportunities, they're mining, automobile assembly, metalworking, machinery, textiles, iron and steel, and chemicals. Those are the biggest. Their top importers are China, Germany, Saudi Arabia, US, Nigeria, and India. So there's, like I said, they're still working to continue to grow these international partners in terms of importing and even exporting. Just post-apartheid, it's been really hard for them to continue to grow, but it's happening slowly and surely. And South Africa is rich in elements and minerals, which makes it a huge international business opportunity. In terms of their recent news, there's been 1,500,000 COVID cases, 45,000 deaths. Currently still in lockdown. The government actually, just like a weird fun fact, the government banned alcohol during the lockdown, which I thought was interesting. If people did that here, they'd freak. So in 2018, South Africa was in a deathly water drought, actually, but they actually were very efficient on how they saved their water and how they taxed on water. So they're actually coming out of it, but now they're in an electricity crisis. So coal has been hard to come by, which so now they're actually doing electricity breaks from certain hours during the day for certain sections of South Africa to save electricity. And then cricket tour was actually canceled due to COVID. Cricket is the international sport of South Africa. People are diehards about cricket. Still don't understand it personally, how to play it, not understand why they like it. But yeah, so this is kind of the big news, and I hope you learned a little bit more about South Africa that you didn't already know. Thank you.